Okay, hello. This is my lesson number 26. It is the 26th lecture in a series of lectures on how the USA is starting a new Cold War with Russia that will fuel an arms race, which will be a big moneymaker for the military industrial complex, lining the pockets of a few while diverting national wealth and national resources from being better spent, in my opinion, on building and enhancing our nation's production capacity, which will better the lives of everyone and help us better compete with China, for example. To have a Cold War with Russia, Russia has to be made to appear a scary threat. A central premise that I've been proving step by step is that Russia is not a scary threat. Russia is a paper tiger that lacks the capacity for offensive military adventurism. Now, I've been proving this thesis with a wide array of facts as depicted below. Right? So here's the central premise: Russian incapacity for offensive military adventurism. They can't do it. Right? And all these elements support this. One, Russia's long history of near perfect record of military failure. Only one time they fought well, the latter part of World War II. The first part, including the invasion of Finland, was horrible. Everything else was horrible, except one time when they faced Nazi genocide. Okay, so one time they fought well when they're facing genocide. Russia's pathetic performances recently. The most recent wars: Chechen War, Georgia War. Two Chechen wars. They lost the first war to Chechnya, a tiny province, 1/1000th the size of Russia, with only one major city. It's not even a major city. There's suburbs bigger than Grozny, 200,000, just over 200,000. There's suburbs bigger than that, right? That's all they had. Every other town was like less than 50, most less than 40,000. All right, and they had trouble with Chechnya. They got bogged down in urban warfare with only Grozny. Georgia, horrible military performance. All right, and I went through Russia's poor material capabilities, their lack of technology, their lack of GDP, all right, their backward military industries, all right, their poorly maintained equipment, the long tradition, the long history of rampant Russian military corruption, right? The glaring military personnel problems in the Russian military. The long history of high rates of deferment, conscription evasion, and desertion. I just covered that. Today we're going to focus on this: Russia's problem with internal instability and the long history of failed wars triggering revolutions. All right. So to begin, the Rand Corporation, their 2019 study cited internal instability as Russia's number one perceived threat. Internal threat is number one. So the threat of internal instability is a weakness that hamstrings any Russian ambition to conduct an adventuristic offensive war, conquering territory that is both prolonged and costly in terms of lives spent and money spent. Simply put, Russia cannot afford to launch an adventuristic foreign war if that will cause a revolution back home. If it's going to bite you in the ass back home, that's just common sense. All right, this is not rocket science. And it is altogether likely that an imprudent Russian adventuristic war will unleash internal instability, at the very least, or revolution, along with breakaway attempts like Chechnya, given that those things have happened repeatedly in Russian history, over and over. For example, the unpopular Russo-Japanese War and Russia's humiliating defeat to an Asian power, an upstart Asian power, right, incited the 1905 revolution. The unpopular World War One and Russia's humiliating performance and defeat in World War One incited two revolutions: the February White Revolution and then the October Bolshevik Revolution. Now, certainly there were other factors involved in all these revolutions. I'm going to get, these, what do you call it? I don't know. Anyway, try to pick and poke. Well, yeah, there are many other factors, right? But in all three cases, the unpopular war was the inciting spark that triggered these revolutions. So yet another example is the USSR's Afghan War, which was a key factor in triggering the breakup of the Soviet Union. When the USSR fell in 1991, U.S. intelligence agencies and the average American were shocked and dumbfounded. I mean, taken totally by surprise. Like, what the hell just happened? That's crazy. Unbelievable. Because they had it drummed into their brains that the USSR, Soviet Union, was a hegemonic, a massive, monstrous, and fearsome boogeyman. It was pounded into their heads. I mean, I lived through this. I know what was pounded in their heads. They tried to pound it into my head. It was pounded into their heads that the Soviet Union was a massive military juggernaut that could steamroll at will across Europe at any moment. And the American masses believed this king with no clothes fairy tale wholeheartedly. They swallowed it down. All right? People will deny it now, but no, they swallowed it down. The simpletons swallowed whole whatever was fed to them. Only I stood alone in predicting that such an adventuristic offensive war would trigger a Soviet breakup, when in 1987 I wrote a sociological analysis of the wide array of particularistic forces within the Soviet Union that threatened to blow it apart if they should be so stupid to launch an offensive war attacking Europe, NATO, USA. Those particularist forces include 1. Wide racial diversity. 2. Nationalistic identities and aspirations. They all want to break away with make their own nation. 3. Independence aspirations. 4. Vast numbers of ethnicities. I forget how many. There's many ethnicities in the USSR. 5. Vast language diversity. When the Soviet Union existed, they recognized 13 national languages. And there's about 130 different dialects. I mean, it's crazy. They can't even talk to each other. 6. Diverse religious aspirations, especially Muslim. 7. Little to no organic loyalty to the Soviet Union and anemic national identifying with the Soviet state. 8. A historic hatred of communism, especially when Stalin forced collectivization down their throat. Especially when it caused the starvation of 5 million in the first purge. And the second purge was like 2 million. All right, where am I here? Okay. 9. All the times in the past that failed Russian wars triggered revolutions inside Russia. Well, it happened over and over in the past. Why not? Logically, you'd expect it again. 10. The long history of breakaway attempts from both Russia and the Soviet Union. I told you, Chechens tried to break away 15 times. They're always trying to break away. They'll try it again. 11. And most profound of all is the fundamental illogic of communism and its failure as a social, political, economic system, which is the underlying basis of the Soviet Union's weakness. I mean, the way I see it, communism failed because of its failure to effectively utilize human talents, energies, and efforts. It failed because it and failed to motivate people to strive hard, to work hard, to be productive. I knew that an adventuristic Soviet offensive war, not a defensive war, against the West would lack popular legitimacy and consequently spark an internal revolution as it has done in the past. And in reality, all it took was a little war in Afghanistan to trigger the breakup of the Soviet Union. Not a big bloody war against the West. It's just a little war. Right? A little war against Afghanistan was enough. Right? If they invaded the West, it would have been far, far more bloody. That would accelerate the breakup of the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union suddenly fell apart, I was proven right. Everyone else was proven wrong. But I stood alone against the masses who were all trapped in their stupid king with no clothes delusion. I swear they all believe this. Right? Why? Because everyone's saying it. It's being shoved down their throats and everyone's repeating it. I swear. People can be mindless zombies. They just follow what everyone says. And that's real because everyone's saying it. Based on no facts. Based on no intelligence. The masses never know any real knowledge and are incapable of independent, intelligent analysis. I swear. And this sounds like I'm being mean, but I swear I believe the average person cannot intelligently analyze things independently. Usually all they have is simple, stupid social reality waves, which consist of a 10-second blurb written at the 4th grade level to reach the lowest common denominator. These waves are always totally devoid of facts and intelligence and rely instead upon simple, stupid, easy to understand crap like mocking jokes or baseless one-word reality like this is crazy, unbelievable, unreal, conspiracy theory, it's debatable, right? No facts. Just pejorative, baseless crap. Or they incite emotions like anger and hate. Get people all jacked up and mad, and then they won't believe you. Why? Because of the facts? No, because they're all full of hate. Or they use aggressive humor, like mock and laugh. Baseless. No facts, no intelligence. It's a funny joke. He's a clown. That's the reality. And I'm not being mean here. This is honestly what happens. This is how they think. This is the honest truth. Social reality waves are never based on facts and intelligence, but yet they always dominate because they are simple and stupid and thus easy for the masses to understand. Right? It takes no effort. Just look at your phone for 10 seconds. Oh, I know what's going on. I know reality because I read my phone in 10 seconds. A 4th grade little blur. And most of all, they had the social reinforcement of a big dumb wave. Social reinforcement is powerful and dominates without any need of facts or intelligent analysis. All right, so continue on. These two guys, I'm not going to try to say their names. They wrote an analysis called Afghan War and the Breakdown of the Soviet Union, which has a number of valid points that I want to examine here. I want to share with you. They said that although there were many factors that caused the dissolution of the Soviet Union, most important of which was the failure of communism itself, and just an illogical, stupid idea, right? How anyone thought that would work, I don't know. The Afghan War was a decisive cause of the USSR's fall in many ways, including 1. The war discredited the myth of Soviet army hegemonic power. All right, it proved it to be a hollow bullshit paper tiger. 2, it undermined Soviet leadership belief in the ability of the military to hold the Soviet Union together. 3, it undermined Soviet leadership belief in the efficacy of military and foreign military interventions. 4, it discredited the Red Army and created cleavage between the party and the military. Right? The military didn't just trust the political leaders in Moscow. Right? They didn't trust them at all. 5, In discrediting the military, the failed war emboldened non-Russian republics, which mostly make up Russia, to push for the Soviet Union, mostly make up the Soviet Union. All these diverse republics. Just think of all the stands: Turkmenistan, right? Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. I don't know, all the damn stands. Push for independence. 6. It created anti-war sentiment throughout the country, but especially in non-Russian republics, fueling nationalistic sentiment and independence aspirations. 7. It fueled breakaway movements since the war lacked perceived legitimacy, especially as a war for Russian benefit, but fought by non-Russian boys. That just pissed them off. Right? Why are we fighting for your benefit? 8. Russian and non-Russian veterans of the war were openly bitter and critical of the Soviet leadership. 9. Rampant corruption, looting, and plunder in the army decreased morale and moral legitimacy. This did not just happen in Afghanistan. It happens in every damn Russian war. It's part of their military heritage. There's going to be rampant corruption. 10. When the war ended, many soldiers refused to return to the Soviet Union, some staying in Afghanistan even. 11. The Russian media became outspoken and critical, especially when it was facilitated by Gorbachev's glasnost. When did glasnost start? About like 86 or 7 or something like that. Gorbachev's opening stuff, right? 12. Angry war veterans formed new organizations which weakened the political hegemony of the Communist Party. All of these were factors that contributed to the fall of the Soviet Union, and all of these stemmed from the Afghan War, right? So that's what these guys, I believe these are all legitimate points, right? Do you really think that this won't happen again if Russia tries some new adventuristic military incursion into a foreign country, especially lacking a defensive justification, right? You know it's going to happen again. Conclusion. With Russia's long history of failed military adventures sparking internal instability and revolutions, it is altogether probable that Putin would likely face a revolution if he embroiled Russia in a long, bloody, adventuristic quagmire. This will limit military operations, Russian military operations, limit Russian offensive military operations to 1. Short interventions with readily obtainable goals and an easy extrication plan. 2. Low intensity conflicts like proxy wars with or without special forces advisors, and especially if they're supporting committed fighters. You know, if you're not supporting committed fighters, it's a losing proposition. You're going to have to end up fighting the damn war yourself. 3. Use of private military security contractors, which are essentially just mercenaries, which suck and are really more effective serving as glorified security guards to protect Russian overseas investments / interests in unstable regions, right? And that's really their best use, right? Not as essential war fighters, but as security guards, right? That's how they're best used today by the Russians, protecting their investments overseas, whatever it is, a mining operation or whatever. All right, so that's it. All right. Again, the main premise is U.S. is starting up a new Cold War to get an arms race, to be a big moneymaker, to divert a lot of national wealth, to line the pockets of a few, but really diverting it from where it should be best used, in my opinion, on building and enhancing our nation's production capacity. All right, helping the lives of Americans, making more opportunity, increasing their, wealth and income, right? But no, We're making bullshit, fabricated, uh, big Russian military threat. And all these ways are proven to be, lack this offensive military adventurous capacity. Including today, we talked about the totally likely because of the repeated historical evidence that whenever Russia has a bloody, bad, unpopular war, there's revolution in their country. All right. Right. Now, here's what's going to happen. Within a day, no one's going to retain a thing, and then there's going to be a big wave attack, shifting focus, big counterattack, based on nothing, except driven by social reinforcement. It's retard social reality. It will dominate, as it always does. Tens of thousands of times, over and over again. Never fails.